What's up, y'all? I'm Kelly Clarkson.
Hey, it's Dave McRae.
Hey, I'm Josh from the band Need to Breathe.
I'm Olivia Lunny.
We are so excited to welcome to the Kelly Alexander Show, Akon. Hi.
What up, girls?
Hey, I'm Judy Gold.
And I'm hanging out with the Kelly Alexander Show.
This is Jordan, and I'm hanging out on the Kelly Alexander Show.
I'm Rob, and I'm hanging out on the Kelly Alexander Show.
I'm hanging out with the Kelly Alexander Show right now.
Jealous?
Super happy to welcome back to the show Grammy Award-winning and Juno Award-winning recording artist, Canadian recording artist, Alessia Cara. Alessia, thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
So always happy to speak to you. I can hang out with you all day. I needed to speak to you about this because the last time we spoke, I didn't have a chance to ask you this specific question about the Love and Hyperbole album. What do you think you learned about yourself either as an artist or as a person in the making of this last album?
I learned a few things, honestly, because I wrote this album like in 3 years. I feel like it was a super transformative time. I mean, 3 years for anybody is really transformative, but I feel like I was really in like a stage of like growth and change. And so I learned a lot about myself. I think like as an artist, I learned to be like way more free than I think I have been in the past. I've been a very reserved writer, kind of a shy writer. And I think for this album, I really allowed myself to just try things and, you know, not be afraid to be in a room with people and just like sing the first thing that comes out, even if it sounded, you know, kind of dumb or not not as refined. So in that sense, like I learned a lot, but also I think just as a person, I really learned how to let love into my life in so many different ways and to nourish parts of my life that I think I was neglecting for a little bit, or parts of myself that I was neglecting. So I think I just learned to have a more balanced, more joyful life, which is great.
Do you find as you're approaching, like I know you're still a couple years away, but as you are approaching your 30s, do you find like you are settling into yourself more as a person and as an artist?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, certainly there are days where it feels like I'm not, where it feels like I'm going backwards. But for the most part, I think even the dips are kind of like, going upward, Yeah, I think just naturally as we get older and as we live life, there are just things that we learn about ourselves and about the world, and it just naturally makes us more well-rounded people. So I definitely feel a huge change, especially like 10 years into this career. I can kind of look back at my earlier self and see all the ways that I've grown, which is really nice.
If we take a look at your album Love and Hyperbole as like a season in the year, what season in your mind would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like it would probably be spring, I think, because spring is kind of, after everything has died, after the cycle has ended, things start to bloom again, things start to grow. And again, this felt like such a transformative time for me. So I kind of feel like it's spring, like growing, changing, new things blooming,
How does it go for you when you are deciding to put out a project? Like, do you actively decide kind of when in the year you want to put it out? Like that fascinates me. Like, or is it just like it's ready, so we're doing it in 3 months from now to put it out? Like, how does that roll for you?
I do kind of have a general idea usually of when I would like to, release music. But I mean, sometimes that aligns with like the timeline that has to happen, and other times it doesn't. There are like so many factors when it comes to releasing projects, and the whole team has to be on board, and so many things have deadlines, and there's a bunch of stuff that goes into it. And sometimes those things align and sometimes they don't. But I think, I don't know, for the most part, it's been pretty good. I feel like, this album coming out on Valentine's Day, honestly, was like, it couldn't have been more perfect. So even if my initial idea was to release it in the fall, which it was, I think it kind of worked out very serendipitously to fall on February 14th.
When you look at your career and like when you first started, and obviously you had the initial success with Here and it blew up, and everybody wanted a piece of Alessia Cara. I don't know if you had like an idea of what success was, and then you obviously got a ton of success, and if success for you has changed 10 years in.
Honestly, yeah, I think so. I definitely didn't know what it meant when I was going or getting into this. We started making these songs when I was like 16. I was nowhere near the industry at the time. I had no idea what was going to come of this or what I even, thought was going to come of this or wanted to come of this. So, yeah, I think once I jumped into this life or kind of got thrust into this life, it was very much a surprise. And I think my idea of success definitely has changed now. I think, growing up and in my first years of like starting this, I didn't really have, much of a life outside of this. So it was very much like music at the center. And I think now, as I've gotten older, and again, like talking about nourishing different parts of my life and different relationships in my life, I've realized that I don't know, it just means something a little bit different to me now, and it's something a little bit simpler than I thought it was. I think ultimately it's just like having good people in your life, being able to laugh as much as you can, experiencing joy as much as you can. Yeah, and just like indulging and having fun. I feel like that is like success. Having a life that like you're proud of.
So you are heading out on tour, and I know that you're doing some dates overseas, like in China, before you come to us here in Montreal. I have a
Mhm.
two-part question about that. Why did you decide to start dates over in China, which is amazing, and overseas? And then how did you make the decision to start here in Montreal, your North American leg? Because that's really special for us to have you here right from the start.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I was gonna start in the US. And we had some US dates set, but then those got moved now to I think the fall. We're working on it. We're still rerouting it. But so it just so happened that now Asia got bumped to the beginning, which I honestly think is kind of amazing, being kind of thrown into countries like that, like off the jump. I think it's going to be a big challenge, and it's going to be super exciting. I've never been to most parts of Asia. I've never been to China. I've never been to Taiwan. Never done a tour in Australia. So like that whole chunk of time is going to be such a thrill, and I think it's like a great way to kind of start with a bang. So I'm glad that it worked out. And then in terms of starting in Montreal, I love Montreal. I'm not just saying this. I think I told you last time. Like the crowds are always absolutely incredible. And I've been starting in Montreal for my Canadian dates for a while now, for a bunch of tours of mine. And I just love doing that because they just have such great energy that it starts that leg off with like such good vibes. So I'm really excited to do it again. I feel like the crowds are always so amazing.
How has rehearsal been going for the tour, and where have you been rehearsing? Like, are you at home in Toronto, or did you go to the States to get this together, or?
I went to the States. I was rehearsing in LA with my band, most of which are like living in the US. So it just made more sense for me to go over there. And I love LA too. I think there's something really nice about being able to rehearse and then go outside into the sunshine. It's like a nice reset from here in Toronto right now, the cold. So yeah, it was super fun. We were out there for a couple weeks, and we're gonna do some brushing up rehearsals too just before Asia, hopefully. So
I have to ask you about, again, coming to Montreal, starting in Montreal. There's been some pretty prolific Montreal artists like Leonard Cohen, obviously Celine Dion, Simple Plan, like Kate Renata, the list goes on and on. If you could collaborate with a Canadian artist from Montreal, like who would it be?
oh my gosh. Oh, I mean, I did. So Katrin, I didn't even know Katrin was from Montreal.
I believe so.
No way. I mean, I love Katrin. That would be amazing. Honestly, that would be amazing to work with Katrin. I honestly love his music so much. So there you go, a revelation. I didn't know he's from Montreal. That's crazy. Probably him.
We live to educate.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I have to, speaking of Kate Renata and that kind of type of music, and obviously, you had such a big hit with Zed with Stay.
Mhm.
Will you do more house music for us? Will you do more EDM music for us?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I've thought about it. I've thought about it. It would have to be right. Like I feel like Katrin is cool because it's like it's not like straight up like house EDM. There's like a different like spin on it. I definitely would do more up tempo stuff, but I don't know about EDM. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see. It'd have to be the right thing. Like
Okay.
Stay was just like as soon as I heard that song, I was like, this is like such an amazing song in itself, and I had to jump on it. But we'll see.
Okay. Fingers crossed for me. And also fingers crossed that you're going to release a nighttime thing as a single. I'm still.
I know you're still waiting for that. You're still waiting for that. Well,
I just.
you might hear it on tour. I don't
Okay,
know.
well, May 14th, we're here in Montreal. Speaking of Montreal again, well, there's two things. First of all, when you are here, if you had a free day, because I know you spent time here, I know you recorded one of your albums here. If you had a free day with nobody bothering you, where would Alessia Cara go, and what would she do here in Montreal?
Oh my gosh, so many things. I would definitely probably go straight to Old Port, so I could feel like I'm in Europe again, and go to Tommy Cafe or go to one of the amazing cafes, go to the little rubber duck store that they have there. I don't know what the reason is for this rubber duck store, but I love it in there, and maybe buy one to collect. What else would I do? I would go to this sandwich shop called Clark's. They have like these amazing like chicken cutlet sandwiches. Yeah, I would just eat a ton and just go to Old Port and walk around and buy rubber ducks.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I was unsurprisingly, scoping out all your social media, and I saw that on one of your recent posts, Joel Madden from Good Charlotte said that your entire album is full of bangers. So
He said that?
yes.
No
So
way.
what does that feel like to have support from him and from, so many big artists love Alessia Cara. Like I know you're shy and I know you're humble. But can you take that in? Like, I feel like you should, because you're such a talent. I love you profusely and I'm so proud of you. So like, I hope you take in the love that bigger artists in the States have for you.
That's so cool. I didn't know that he commented that. I did his podcast recently. The episode's not out yet, but he is very, very sweet. I didn't know that he commented that. That's so nice. Yeah, it's such a trip to hear that, honestly. And I feel like there's nothing quite like getting love from your peers and people that you look up to. I mean, getting love from anyone is obviously incredible, but there's something really special about receiving love from people that you grew up listening to and that you admire. It just means so much, so it's crazy. I can't even believe that they can hear it and that they know that I exist. It's always such a trip. So I'm very grateful to hear that. That's always the nicest thing ever.
Now, I know I have to let you go. Just a couple of quick questions. First of all, what do you want your Montreal fans to know when you come to Montreal on the 14th of May? Like, what do you want them to get ready for with the Alessia Cara experience?
Ooh, well, I would say now that we've like mapped out the set list and everything, I hope that it's a good mix of all the songs you know and love, maybe some deep cuts and some new songs. It's always so hard when you're like 4 albums in to pick a set list that you feel like people will be happy with, but I think you guys will be happy with it. I hope, fingers crossed. It seems like a great mix, and I think you'll like the songs we chose.
This next question is completely left of center, but I have to ask you, with the recent bunch of ladies that went up on that Blue Origin flight, like Katy Perry, Gayle King, would you go up there, and who would be in your flight crew?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Oh man. See, like I would love to go up there in theory, but then like looking at them going up there, I'm like, are we sure this, like, you're just like getting, because I didn't realize that like the top comes off and you're just like launched free, just like, so I don't know that part. Like I would have to maybe be tethered. I don't know if there's a rope that goes all the way up to space, but if I could guarantee that I'd come back, then I would go. And who would be in my flight crew? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, probably like as many of my friends and family as I could fit. Maybe my best friend, my brother, my parents, even though none of them would be down to come with me, I think. That would be really fun. But yeah, I don't know if I'd do it. Knowing that it's like you're just like free floating up there, that's a little scary. But God bless them for doing that and having the courage.
And last question, I've never asked you this before, I believe. What is Alessia Cara's go-to karaoke song?
Ooh, I have a few. I have a bunch, but I would say honestly, my go-to is probably anything Destiny's Child, and I sing all of the parts at the same time. It's my favorite thing. Like anything Destiny's Child, Survivor, Bills, 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 like all of their big hits.
Amazing. I love you. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate you.
Love you too. Thank you so much for having me back. This was so nice. I hope to see you at the show. I hope you can come.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna ask Jonathan if he can make sure. I'm going, but like, do you ever have like? Could I give you a high five before you're on set, like, or on stage, like, are you?
Of course.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll
Yeah.
ask him if he can get me.
Yeah.
Back.
Let's try to.
Like, I haven't seen you since you were 19. Like, I haven't hugged you since you were 19. So I'd love to do that.
That would be amazing for sure. Let's do it.
Amazing. So I wish you an amazing trip to overseas, and I can't wait to see you here in Montreal. And yeah, you're awesome. Keep being you, and please release Nighttime a thing for me. Thank you.
Thank you. I will. We're working on it. We're going to make it work.
Hey, it's Kelly Alexander, and thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Kelly Alexander Show, so you are the first in line for all the cool content coming your way.